Hello, welcome to my October wrap up. This month I have got a huge stack of books next to me, but I don't feel like that's because I read necessarily a huge stack of books. It's because they're pretty much all hardbacks. So in October I was taking part in SPOOKOPLATHON, which is hosted by Becca at Becca and the Books. I vlogged throughout the month, so I'm not going to go into like synopses of any of these books because I think they all, or at least they pretty much all feature in a vlog this month. So you can go and watch my vlogs if you want to find out more and like more in-depth thoughts. So should we just get into it? Let's just get into it. This month I read, I'm going to just pull my stats up here on Storygraph. I read 11 books. I've got one of them counted as an audiobook, but actually it was two that were mixed audio and digital. I had 2 DNFs and the vast majority were fantasy. So I read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fantasy, 1 thriller, 1 romance and 2 mysteries. But I'm going to start off with my 2 DNFs for the month. So I DNF'd Things We Say in the Dark by Kirsty Logan. This is, let's take out the bookmark. This is a short story collection. I got a grand total of 24 pages in. It's a short story collection. It just wasn't doing it for me. I wasn't finding, I think it's supposed to be horror, but I wasn't finding any of the stories scary. I was just finding them weird and confusing. So yeah, I wasn't enjoying it. Second book I DNF'd is A Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon by Sarah Hawley. This one, I got about 100 pages into it and I just was a bit bored. I think, I'll be honest, I think that witchy cozy fantasies are just not for me. Because I've read The Ex-Hex before, which was okay, but I didn't love it. This one, again, as I was reading it, I was sort of thinking, this is okay. It's going to be like a 3-star read. It just was never going to be more than that. And I just thought I'm not intrigued enough to finish it. So unfortunately, my second DNF of the month. On to the books I did finish. Like I said, I had, let me see if I can actually pick these up and show you what we're working with here. I have a huge stack, but it's more a huge stack because they're all hardbacks. I had a good month, I think. So I've gone through like the main. In terms of my ratings, I had 1 2-star, 1 3-star, 3 3.5 stars, 3 4 stars and 3 5 stars. So I had a good month. My average rating was 3.86. So let's call that a 4-star. You know, let's round it to the nearest actual star rating. So an average 4-star, fantastic. Happy with that. Like I said, I'm not going to go through all of the synopses or anything in here. I'm just going to give you a very, very quick what I gave the book and very quick thoughts. All of throughout books are featured in vlogs throughout the month, which I will link them all down below. So, first book I read was Heads Will Roll by Josh Winning. This one is a slasher. It was my first slasher, I think. I'm not a big horror girly. I wanted to read more horror. I had a great time with this one. I gave it 4 stars. Next, this one, it's the second book I read, which is The Atlas Paradox by Olivia Blake. I read this one both on audio and physically. I gave this one 3 stars, and I do think that was a me issue, not a book issue. I read book 1 in 2020. I have not continued the series. It's taken me 4 years to get to book 2. Rather than reread, because I just didn't want to, I felt like I just didn't fully connect with all of the characters or the plot, and I do think that a lot of that was the fact that I left so long between books. Yeah, this one just didn't hit for me. I'm hoping that book 3, when I get to that one, I'll hopefully get to it slightly quicker and hopefully it will work a little bit better for me. Next, we've got Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross. This one I gave 3.5 stars. I had a good time with this. I had fun. This is the sequel to Divine Rivals. I did enjoy Divine Rivals more. I felt like, and I was concerned about this going in, to be honest, I felt like because of the way Divine Rivals ended, Ruthless Vows kind of had to repeat the story that we had in Divine Rivals, and that is what happened, which is fine. I had a good time, but again, it just wasn't completely new and unique. Next, I read Queen Bee by Juno Dawson. I gave this one 3.5 stars. I had a fun time with this one. I really enjoyed it. I love this series. Is it the most essential reading in the series? Probably not. It's not one that you could read as a standalone. It's not one you could read first because you need all of the world building that has been done in the previous books. I think it adds colour to the overall story arc of the series, but I don't think it adds plot to the overall story arc of the series. As far as I can tell, it might have, I don't know. I don't think it's essential reading for enjoyment of the series, but I had fun with it. 3.5 stars. Next, I read Swordcatcher by Cassandra Clare. This is the standard cover on the Fairy Loot Sprayed Edge edition because I don't like the Fairy Loot cover. I gave this one 4 stars. I did have a really fun time. I want to reread this book. Basically, I went into this with the wrong kind of expectation. I was expecting a very fast-paced sort of plot similar to Shadowhunters, and it isn't. This one is much more slow paced with a much more rich world, so it did take me a while to get into this book. It did take me a while to connect. However, once I was in there, once I was connected, loved it. I actually want to reread this book before The Ragpicker King comes out. Next, I read A Fate Inked in Blood by Danielle L. Jensen. I gave this one 2 stars. I really should have DNF'd it. In fact, in the vlog, spoilers, I spend the whole vlog going, I probably should be DNFing this book. I'm going to read another, I should probably DNF it. I should have. I was unsure going into this one, if I'm totally honest with you, because I don't like Norse books typically, and I haven't liked previous books by Danielle L. Jensen, so you know, not a good combo. I found this one, I found the pacing far too fast. I found that, you know, if you missed a word, you'd missed like half of the plot. The plot just seemed to jump around quite a lot. I didn't like the characters. I didn't think a lot of it made sense. It just didn't work for me. I think, to be honest, it is just mainly that Danielle L. Jensen is not an author for me. Next, we get into the good books here. The Endcrownzle by B. Fitzgerald, 5 stars, no notes. I loved this book. Let me just get the dust jacket on properly. Absolutely fantastic. I knew I was going to love it, and I had been putting off reading it because I knew I was going to love it, but impeccable, amazing. Next, I read The Mistake by Elle Kennedy. Again, 5 stars. I loved it. This one is book 2 in the Off-Campus series, and it's just such a lovely romance. Like with a lot of romance books, is it going to stick with me? Am I going to be obsessed with these characters forever? And can I tell you the specifics of this plot compared to other romance books? No, not really. I can't. I just had a fantastic time in the moment. With this one, I will say that the one slight downfall of this one, and again, me issue, not book issue. I last month read Daydream by Hannah Grace, and there were quite a few characters in The Mistake that felt similar to the characters from Daydream. This book was published 9 years before Daydream, so this one did come first, but I read it second, which means that I was sort of reading things like, hang on, wait, haven't we already solved this problem? Oh no, wait, that happened in a different book. So I had a great time. I loved it. It just unfortunately was impacted by the fact that I had read another fairly similar book recently, but again, still 5 stars. The Mad Ship by Robin Hobb, 5 stars, impeccable. I loved it. Robin Hobb can do no wrong. I have lots of tabs in this one. I am very, very excited to continue this series. I have no words, it's impeccable. The Box in the Woods by Maureen Johnson. I gave this one 3.5 stars. I didn't love Stevie in this one. She irritated me. I also didn't like the ending. The ending is not a fair play ending. You as the reader cannot solve the mystery because you're not given half of the clues until literally the final page. So I'm not the biggest fan of it when books do that. But 3.5 stars, I enjoyed it, I had fun, it just, again, had a couple little issues for me. And my final book of October is We Solve Murders by Richard Osman. I gave this one 4 stars. I enjoyed it, I had a good time. However, it didn't hit me as much as the Thursday Murder Club, and I didn't enjoy it as much as I enjoyed the Thursday Murder Club. So while I had a really fun time with it, again, I went in with the expectations of it's going to be something similar in enjoyment levels to the Thursday Murder Club, which it just wasn't for me. But I still had a good time nonetheless. That is it. That is my wrap up done for October. I read a lot, and I have got to owe it all to SPOOKOPLATHON. I do think it was a bit of a mixed bag month. There were some books that I really, really loved. There were some books that I really did not like. I did get myself into a bit of a fantasy slump partway through the month, which I think you can kind of see reflected by my ratings. But that is that. Let me know, were you taking part in any read-alongs during October? How did you do? How many books did you read? Tell me all about your October reads. If you've read any of the books that I have mentioned, let me know your thoughts on them. Do you agree with my ratings? And if you just want to leave me an emoji to let me know you were here, leave me a cat emoji for We Solve Murders. And that is it from me today. I will see you in the next one. Bye.